What's up, guys? This is Andy here from BC Tech, and this is a little case mod I did on my G42 window case made by Thermaltake. Something that kind of bugged the fuck out of me since I bought the thing. Now, I knew it since I bought it that it was like this. As I actually, do my research before I buy things. It's a great case for the price. Like, you can buy it $60 and it's pretty much full tower size. It's definitely not, I would say it's definitely not a fucking mid tower. Sorry, there's scratches on it that drive me nuts. Anyways, what I'm getting to is instead of having two front fan mounts, which the standard is 120, two 120 fan mounts in the front. They have a 120 fan mount in the front and a 120 in the bottom. Not only does it works, that bottom fan idea works, because especially if you had a graded shelf like mine's sitting on, it's really pulling cold air in from beneath. And I guess for a budget case, they only really expected people that use the bottom few drives and take the top three out. But people like me, I use 5 out of 6 drive bays. So having that extra 240mm fan in the front would have been a big deal. Given I still, like, I probably would have been aggravated if they didn't have that bottom 120 fan. I would have ranted about that too. But this video I'm showing you is actually a case mod I did. The reason why it pisses me off is because it has so much goddamn room in there, just enough room for another 120mm fan. Or you could probably fit two 240mm fans. That's what I don't like about this case. Not that I would have bought any 240 fans, because 220s are big enough and 20mm doesn't make that much of a difference. But just the fact that it didn't have, it has the space and it has the need because of the top hard drives is exactly where it sits. The bottom fan mount sits right where the bottom three hard drives are. Top fan, where there should be a fan, is where the top three hard drives sit. Now, given, like I said, it's a budget case, they probably expect a lot of people to take it out. But even still, even if it was taken out, it's a great place for a mass airflow fan just to pump air into the case. Because the fan that they had on it, which is now the top fan, I didn't get another ring fan, is a mass airflow fan, as you guys will see in the picture. And if you had to take that out to put a longer graphics card in, it'd also be a perfect spot to put a fucking another 120mm fan to pump air to cool that fucking thing. Having the one beneath it, the one on the bottom cooling the drives, if you had the three drives on the bottom, and then the one on the top cooling either your longer graphics card, just pumping air into your case, or cooling the top three drive cages that are there. Like I said, the top two drive cages are removable. And I did a whole in the separate little video. But as you can see, there's drive bays all the way up to the 5.5 bays. And you can see right where that Thermaltake fan stops. So it's only cooling the bottom three drive bays. And the problem arose because my SSD that runs my operating system is up here. So guys, again, I'm sorry, that just kind of really pissed me off. I don't know, I love Thermaltake, I'm a huge Thermaltake everything. Given I have a standard size power supply, but it's going to be switched, I did buy a new one. It's probably going to end up going in the new build, but if I bought a longer power supply, it could only be about an inch and a half longer, and then I wouldn't be able to use that 120. So if I had a huge power supply that was like 3 inches longer than the one I have, like a massive 1200 watt power supply, then you'd only have one intake fan. It just doesn't make sense. Given the bottom intake fan thing is an awesome idea, I love that. And you could even put a bigger power supply in and take that fan out. But they should have, and I think they were going to, and you'll see in the video coming up to this that there is room for another 120 millimeter fan. They just did not put the fucking screw holes for it. That's it, guys. I'm done. What's up, guys? This is Andy here. This is BC Tech. I'm doing a quick video on a mod I did to my Thermaltake G42 window. Just make sure everything is in frame correctly, as you can see. One of the features about this case that they kind of messed up on that is an industry standard is having dual 120 millimeter fans in the front, and this one only had the mounts for one 120 millimeter fan in the front. Given it does have a mount, and I do have a fan, you guys can see in that video, there is a bottom fan mount, intake fan mount for a 120 millimeter fan, but I would still have liked to see another 120 millimeter fan mount, because there is the room for it. And the reason for that is because this has 6 drive cages in here. As you guys can see in the original video, there's up to, you can put up to 6 hard drives or SSDs or whatever you want to put in, 2.5s. You can put up to 6 drives in there, but the top 3 drives are not getting any airflow, and that's where the second 240 millimeter fan would come in play. So what I did is I opened up the case, or I took the front panel off, and I looked, and what makes absolutely no sense to me is there is a perfectly exact amount of room for a 240 millimeter radiator. And the reason why it really was brought to my attention is because I rearranged all my drives. I have 5 hard drives in there, and 3 of them are SSDs, which stay cool for the most part, and then 2 of them are actually mechanical hard drives. The mechanical hard drives tend to heat up quicker and get a little hotter because they actually have moving parts. So I put those on the bottom where the cooling fan was, and then I put the 3 SSDs I had up on top. You know, the top drive bay is still empty. I only have 5 drives, but the SSDs are the top 3 bays, and only 1 is getting cooled, and not even kind of getting cooled because the fan is set kind of low. And I noticed, because originally I had the SSD that was running my operating system, which is my Kingston V3, which is actually really fast. It's one of the ones with a fixed NAND issue. When I moved my Kingston from the bottom, away from the airflow to the top, it raised the temperature of the drive by 2 degrees. The running temp of the Kingston V3 running my operating system was around 25 degrees, which is normal because it's constantly working because it's running the operating system. But once I moved it all the way to the top where there's no intake, no fan intake or no airflow, it went up to 26.5 up to 27 degrees. So it was either I rearranged the drives again, which I didn't want to do because I like the placement the drives are. They are the way they are for the reason I need the mechanical drives on the bottom to keep those cool because those will fail a lot easier. But earlier on, when I first built the computer and got the case, I realized there was enough room for another 240 millimeter fan. There just wasn't the mounts for it. So nothing broke. It's actually really sturdy. That's the front. So as you guys can see, I modified it, and there is a second 240 millimeter fan. Let me get out of the way. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. So as you guys can see, this fan fits perfectly in there. There's actually probably room where you could have put a 240 millimeter fan in there, on the bottom and the top. I don't understand it. The case looks like they originally had intended dual 120 millimeter fan mounts. Now there is the screw holes down here for this one. This one is intentionally supposed to be there, but up top, I don't understand why they didn't just put 4 more screw holes, because there is hard drive bays right here. Right behind where my finger is where the hard drives stop. So basically what I did is I put the fan in, and I used 2 little zip ties. I zip tied the fan to the screw that holds this fan in, and then on the top I just used a little piece of double-sided stick tape, and I put stick tape behind it there. And the stick tape not only holds it in place, but it acts as like an anti-vibration. There's none of this hard plastic from this fan touching the case. It's the same concept of these little rubberized inserts on the Thermaltake ring fans. These keep vibrations to a minimum. That's what causes most of the noise, is the vibrations from the plastic on the steel. So with 2 zip ties, a few pieces of stick tape, like I said, I could rock the whole computer just by touching that fan. That fan is not going anywhere. And now I have it in that fan. This is the original fan that came with the case. This fan was originally on the bottom here before I switched it out. Now I have other blue LED fans, just not the ring, and I think they kind of look gaudy if I had 2 different types of blue fans in there. So like I said, I'm already going to purchase 2 more blue ring fans for the top, so I might as well purchase a 3rd one for right here. But for the moment, this is doing the job. After I put this new fan in, which is, it's a Thermaltake fan. It's a high airflow fan. It's not a compression fan like this one. A compressing fan, a high compression fan would be better because there's a lot of resistance from the drive bays, but this works, and it does its job very well. I've noticed that my Kingston operating system drive, the SSD, has gone back down to 25 degrees. Now given without the fan, it's 27 degrees, and now with the fan, it's 25 degrees. So, Thermaltake, what the fuck. Still, I love this case. The reason why I bought this case, and I'll do a review on this case, is because this was a budget-minded build. Given a lot of the stuff was provided by my sponsor, CJIT, like some of the Thermaltake ring fans, the first 2 were given to me by him. And that's what got me hooked on them, because they are high pressure fans, which are great for the radiators, but they also do work for case flow. For an exhaust fan, it's great because I have a filter that's going to go over my back one, so it creates pressure. A high pressure fan is better when there's a lot of resistance, like if there's drive cages behind it, but if there's just nothing, like a just solid opening, a fan like this is better. A high airflow and then a high static pressure, which I'll get into in another video. But like I said, temporarily, until I get the 3 new fans, the 2 for the top to match the push-pull intake, this fan does great. It's not connected to the Thermaltake ring, or the NZXT fan controller, for a reason. I have it plugged directly into the power supply. One, I don't have any more cable splitters, and not that I want to split anything at the moment yet. I'm not going to start splitting off the channels until I get all the ring fans in and all my adapters in, the little V adapters. But I wanted a redundancy fan. God forbid this thing goes out. Like, watch. If this dies, the NZXT, well, I don't think it'll die. I'll give you guys a little better view. Sorry guys. I thought you guys could see what I was doing. But see now, this, I'm going to re-explain it again. This is the NZXT fan controller, which was the last video. This fan is not going to be plugged into it for a reason, well, at least at the moment. If this dies for whatever reason, if it shorts out and I have a power surge and just the controller dies, that means my case will be running with no fans. Given the liquid cooling will still be running, but it'll still eventually overheat. and I'll be getting no airflow into the case at all. So having this one fan running right off the power supply means I could turn all the other fans off. Let's say this broke. Let's say the NZXT fan controller shorted out. I still got at least one fan pushing air into the case, pulling cold air in. Given the likelihood of that ever happening, I highly doubt it, but I just thought, at least for the moment, it's a cool idea. But once I get the splitters in and the new Thermaltake ring fan, I'm probably going to hook it up to the NZXT just to make sure the two of them are the same brightness. Because this is running on full all the time, and it's a really quiet fan, which is cool. It's not super quiet, but it's quiet enough. Put those fans all the way back up. And there we go. So that's your Thermaltake G42, or it'll work on G41. The only difference between them is the front faceplate, and like I said, as you can see by where it would sit, it still has plenty of airflow. It's not like it's restricted, and it's really easy to take this on and off. So if anybody has any questions about this, please comment. Anybody that has this case that wants to add a second fan here, please let me know. I don't think you'd have the room to put a radiator and fans there, but you can definitely fit two 240mm fans. And I'm going to look for a better mounting solution than zip ties and the stick tape once I get the new fan. But at the moment, that's it. And if anybody's wondering, this is the antenna for my Wi-Fi. I didn't want it in the case where anybody could see it. I didn't want it in where the cable management was because I didn't want it getting damaged or anything. So what I did is I drilled a hole into the case, I sanded it, and then I mounted it right here. That's the antenna for my, I think it's Rail-Link Wi-Fi, and I had room for that. And I still have more room, which from here to here, given I don't have anything in this 3.5 bay, but if I didn't have this in there, the card reader, I could probably put a third one in there. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure what Thermaltake was thinking, especially having 6 drive bays. Giving you all those drive bays, but not enough fan cooling to cool them all, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm pretty sure, because this is a budget case, you can get it for like $60, $70 depending where you get it. That's why I bought it. And it is a beast. It does not flex anything. This thing is heavy as hell. The case by itself is 16 pounds. But being a budget case, I think they definitely overlooked a few aspects of it, like that fan. I think putting a bottom-mounted 120 fan was their solution, but I think they should have also included the mounted brackets for a second 120 on the front as well. So now I have 3 intake fans, the one on the bottom and these 2, and I technically have 3 exhaust fans. Well, 5, but we're not going to count the 2 on the top. But we have the exhaust fans from the radiators, which there's 2 on the bottom, and then the one on the back. So we have equal pressure in the case now, which I don't know if that's good or bad for dust, but everything's cooler in the case. As you can see right now, I usually run at 24.5 degrees. I'm running it around 23.3 at idle. I don't know if that has anything to do with the temperature of today or the fan. I didn't check that, but I will let you guys know. Anyways, this is BC Tech. I'm sorry, that's my last channel. This is BC Tech. Any questions? If you guys want to see a tutorial, let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. I made a Twitter for the channel. I'm going to link that down below. And give me ideas for videos. I'm a big modder. I mod everything I have. Like you guys saw in my last case, which I will show you real quick. This was an HP all-in-one case. This was my original computer, HP Pavilion. It came with the whatever in it. But once I started upgrading it, I decided to put a glass, well, it's actually plexiglass side window in it, which is cool. And then also in the top, 120 millimeter exhaust fan, because that's where all the heat was. So anyways, that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you to CJIT, my big sponsor, and thank you to any of my viewers and anybody. Please like and subscribe. This is a new channel. I'm trying to get this off the ground, and that's about it.